Ismail Bahu, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to continue our discussion at the successful event back in March in the DFS forum, where you gave a wonderful presentation about the recent developments and what's happening in the payments arena in Jordan. Mainly Jomo Pay and all the developments and the new systems that were developed and adopted by the Central Bank of Jordan. As the executive director of the payments department in the central bank, there has been numerous questions and given the limited time available at the forum, many people didn't get the chance to ask you these questions. So we're taking this opportunity to ask these questions, discuss them, and get your feedback on them. Let me go to the new services that have been launched in the market, the mobile wallets. Mm-hmm. And till now, as we all can see, that it's the starting phase is critical. Mm-hmm. So how do you envision the reaching the critical mass of customers in order to make this service work?
Reaching mass people for adoption, from our point of view, the critical player in this regard is the government. And we've been contacting with governmental institutions because in Jordan, as in most of the countries, G2P, government to people, in terms of amount, it's almost always small and a huge number of transactions. Vice versa for some types of person-to-government payments. This is very critical for mass adoption, and we found very positive reaction from the government institutions to support and to cooperate because it will benefit them as well. So this is very critical. Trust and confidence could be the most critical factor, not initiative factor, because people cannot jeopardize transacting in money if they don't trust the institution, the ecosystem, the regulator. That's why from previous experience, we put our efforts to control the operation, to put some comprehensive regulatory framework. We are now working on robust financial consumer protection laws and regulations. So in this regard, this is like a very critical factor, but for mass adoption, I believe government payments and transactions services would help a lot.
Personally, I tried one of the services, the newly allowed at the e-Fawatiircom system. Yeah. I made a person-to-government payment, and the service actually reached to my doorstep. So that was an amazing experience, personal experience for me, taking advantage of such services. So I can see how the central bank envision the near future of doing all these transactions and just to save money and time for everyone. Yeah. Another question, I think it's related to the previous one, is what are the steps taken to tap early adopters and consumer behavioral change?
When it comes to changing the behavior of consumers, this is a very critical part. We already prepared some awareness campaigns regarding all digital financial services, focusing on mobile payments. We will launch it after Eid, hopefully. This is one of the important things. The other thing, as I mentioned before, government support for their government payments. We have many things in the horizon. You will be surprised, but for cultural, very important trust and awareness campaigns.
That's besides the ecosystem.
Yes.
That you're saying, that
definitely.
Yes. Does the central bank plan to doing a more comprehensive financial literacy campaign for digital financial services?
Mm-hmm. For that thing, as a financial literacy or financial education, we already started last scholastic year with the grade 7. It will continue as a financial education plan. We are targeting all terms and related activities to life of people for financial services and financial education. In terms of financial education, we want to prepare a new generation that are well aware of the benefits and values of having any access to formal financial services.
So you already started in grade 7,
Grade 7.
In both public and private schools?
In all schools in the country,
Okay.
because we target both genders, all caliber of the societies, all geographical areas in the kingdom, whether Jordanian or non-Jordanian. So the best way to do it is to go to them at specific age, to their places, to be included within their education system, but in a very informative and interactive way. So we already started, and this will continue. But as for the question asking about awareness campaign, we will launch our awareness campaign a week after Eid Ramadan, and the time frame from our side as a central bank is end of this year, 2016. We will assess the impact of the campaign, and according to the results, we might decide to go into more campaigns. This is like the official campaign, utilizing medias and utilizing TV, or all these things. As for conducting workshops to people we are targeting, this will never stop, because even one of our objectives within the central bank objectives is to disseminate knowledge, to enhance knowledge and awareness in all types of terms, whether in economics or in financial services.
The related question about the targeted segments of customers who will be the users of these e-wallets. Can you tell us who are these, and how and why they will be using these e-wallets?
Okay. Mainly mobile payments in Jordan, focusing and directly targeting unbanked people, because they don't have access to financial services. All people, they need financial services. And evidences prove that poor people are the best money managers, so they don't have access to formal financial services. However, they save, regardless of the way they save. They borrow money from relatives, cousins, neighbors, friends, communities, unions. But the cost of informal financial services is quite high, because you might lose everything. We want to provide them with formal financial services, but to be accommodated to their needs, specific needs, like a small amount of savings, easy withdrawals, simplified no KYC requirements, all these stuff. So mainly we are targeting the unbanked, but definitely even banked people will benefit from mobile wallets. Adding to that, Jordan is a youth country. And according to the UN, the definition of adults is people between or after 15. By law, youth between 15 to 18 are not allowed by law to open their own saving accounts and to operate them. However, we know many people are obliged to go to the labor market. They might become the head of their households at such age, but still they cannot have access to formal financial services. So this is a formal financial service. This will enable them, will help them. The same applies on many of women or girls. They get married, they don't have bank accounts. They work from their residences, but they cannot have easy access to transactional accounts at banks. So we are targeting all unbanked people, all vulnerable people and poor. But at the same time, I'm confident that the service will as well serve banked people for their micropayments, daily micropayments.
And what do you think the main services that they are going to benefit from and they are going to use?
I believe, as it happened in most of the countries, person to person could be the most needed from their perspective, or the most used, because when you want to send money to anyone, could it be costly or inconvenient? It needs you to transfer, to commute, to deliver the amount, regardless of the size of amount. However, by mobile payment, it's like instant transfer of funds within the country. But I believe transacting for purchases, executing purchases, for bills, for all types of payments, it's very important. These services would facilitate their life, will reduce the transaction cost. But I believe the most important one for them is basic saving platform. Even if you want to save a small amount, it's very convenient for you and very secured. So this is very important. It will enhance the pattern and behavior for future savings. It might help you to accumulate savings for some emergencies in the future. And most of poor people, their income is seasonal or daily labored. Today I might get money, but the other coming 2 days I might not be able to earn money. So I need definitely to save for at least 2 days. I would have a safe place to put my money.
So now merchants are connected or can be connected with these services, right?
From day one.
From day one.
From day one, they are allowed to connect. But this is not our direct mission. This is the mobile payment service providers' job, and they already started. But still, very modest, improvements in this area. However, after Ramadan, I believe when it comes to their planned launching of the service, I believe we will start witnessing huge adoption and acquiring for the merchants.
Does that include loan disbursements and repayments of loans by other financial institutions like the microfinance institutions?
We already have one of the microfinancial institutions that are on board of the service, and we will be launching piloting with 2 of them very shortly, because definitely this is a service that will all benefit from them, whether people dealing with microfinancial institutions or microfinancial institutions themselves. So this is like one of the very important service for them.
So I can see how you will complete the connection where people with bank accounts are using these services.
Yes.
Through internet banking or mobile banking, and now
ATMs, even at the counter of the bank.
And now even for unbanked, they can currently use it on the counter at the post offices, etc. But with the mobile wallet, connecting it with the system, that would change and that would complete actually the picture.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Unbanked people will have their mobile wallets to conduct person to person, person to merchant, person to government, then to get all services provided by e4@Eircom. All billers, once they are added to e4@Eircom, they will be automatically added and offered to the bank wallets.
What do you see the most promising initiative in Jordan targeting the unbanked?
I can say at this moment the most promising initiative to enhance the adoption of mobile wallets. If we look at it from this side, I would consider public transportation. And we had several meetings with the Ministry of Transportation. They want to make all payments cashless payments for public transportation. And the cost of issuing prepaid cards for transportation is huge. The cost of having a platform to monitor and to execute these payments, to do the clearing at the end of the day, is very expensive for them. And at the end of the day, people will end up with having many prepaid cards. If we want a prepaid card for transportation, another one for health services, and other one for bakeries, or all these. So people will end up having a huge bulk of cards, while the mobile wallet can serve all these institutions and all these initiatives. So we started our discussion with them to see if they have any specific need where we need to customize for them. And luckily, the setting of Jomo Pay enables all kinds of services, and the public transportation might become paid by mobile wallet. It's like tap and go, where you can control the subsidies that the government provide to, for example, university students. You can monitor the itinerary of the buses or other vehicles. You can control the consumption. You can even have data on like queuing at this station, if the vehicles are sufficient or not, what people consume. Maybe people at this station, they spend money for coffee, for sandwiches, for cigarettes, so they can even give information how to allocate some other projects to serve people. Maybe other areas you can alternate the vehicles to serve other areas at different timing. So it's like something that would benefit the economy on all levels of micro and macroeconomic. And I think the public transportation would be the most important one and promising one.
So is the central bank open for changing the limits on the transaction and balance currently stated in the regulation for the mobile wallets?
According to the level of income and consumption, we decided the limits. After, definitely, classification of the types of functions. So person to person, it is different than person to merchant or government or business. So we conducted classification. Currently, we are looking into the limits. We will revise them. We promised the market that these limits are not like the end of the world. So according to the first phase of implementation, we will revise it definitely to accommodate with people's needs and according to the new indicators in the market.
What's the central bank's policy in regarding pricing of these services from the service providers?
Respecting the service providers' benefits and concerns, we left it to the market to decide according to demand and supply powers in the market, with the full right for the central bank to intervene if there is a necessity to put like limits, caps on fees. But this is up to the market forces to decide.
Going back to deposits, and because it's a very hot topic and you hear the question everywhere, will there be in the future, will it be allowed for the customer to benefit from any interest accrued on his or her account?
This is a very, very hot and debatable topic. Maybe it's one of the most debatable topics. Looking at countries who adopted mobile wallets and who succeeded in providing mobile wallets, most of them, they don't allow interest-bearing for mobile wallets balances because it's very active, so and small amounts. But as a pool of account, still we have a debate on interest-bearing. Currently, our framework doesn't allow giving interest to mobile wallets. But in the future, we will reconsider it. We will revisit this term and article, because at the end of the day, it's their right. They can. But still, current accounts with banks, they don't have interest rates. So if in the future the market participants will follow our dream and our vision to allow integrated services within the Jomo Pay, to allow having some specific saving accounts, these saving accounts could have interest, but the transactional account not necessarily. However, we promise that we will revisit and revise this term for the benefit of all parties providing the service and getting the service. But currently we don't see any need due to the very small amounts, the volatility of the balances within the account, and at the same time justification compared to transactional and current accounts with banks.
So the word safeguarded would move me to a different, I think it's a very related topic, which is deposit guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
And in the future, I would expect that the amount of money being pooled in that account
Mm-hmm.
from thousands, tens of thousands of customers will be held in the same account.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that it will exceed the limit protected by the insurance, by the deposit insurance guarantee scheme already available.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any plans to develop this to include these small virtual accounts within that scheme?
Yes, you're absolutely right, and this is something Central Bank of Jordan wouldn't have missed, definitely. Currently, the deposit insurance schemes, they cover for individual accounts up to a specific limit. But for pool accounts, there's something like special treatment like pension funds and other retirement funds or these funds. So since it's a pool of accounts of several people, definitely the outstanding amounts within the bank will exceed the limit of protected deposit. First of all, we allow by law differentiation where you can allocate the collateral in different banks, so you can diversify your risk towards the bank. As for the deposit insurance, we are still working on this with our stakeholders, and we are looking into countries who already implemented such schemes to learn from their mistakes and to come up with something like to be customized and according to our laws and our culture and our regulations. So this will be definitely introduced, but at this moment we are not concerned about this because the amount is still very modest, but this is something that will be introduced shortly.
How do the central bank anticipate the increase in the number of people dealing with banks and the formal financial system after launching these services?
Including people within the formal financial system does not mean directly increasing the number of people having bank accounts. We have to notice and realize this difference. Access to formal financial services, whether microfinancial institutions or mobile service providers, this is something, it's different than bank account, but at the same time, it's a formal transactional account. It's a mirror to bank account. That's what we target in the first place, to have like a safe, efficient transactional account where you can save, where you can transact. After that, if you want to move into licensed banks to have a bank account or to integrate the mobile wallets with basic saving accounts with banks, this is even much more and more than what we are targeting at this stage or at this moment. So financial inclusion, in the term of financial inclusion, providing access to affordable, convenient, safe, formal financial services to people who are deprived from having this. After that, if the market is active, they will definitely include more people within the formal system, then people will start moving towards having saving accounts, transactional accounts with the licensed banks. But what's the most important is to provide people with services. It's not a KPI or a number that we want to brag that we achieved. It's the value added, the benefits for people. That's what we are targeting, and this is our ultimate objective.
Again, thank you very much.
You are most welcome.